Hey folks, welcome to the Triple T Thursday. For those just joining us, that's Tools, Tips, and Talk, where we'll discuss info for the knife maker. In today's episode, I'm going to make a little modification to my Brodbeck grinder. I've had the Revolution for a while, and there's something I really love about the Revolution that I don't love about the Brodbeck, so we're going to make that modification of the Brodbeck. Let's go take a look. So here I am at the Brodbeck. First off, you might notice that I've got a different tracking system here. That's because this is a prototype. Just ignore this. What I want to talk about is the tensioning system. So the tensioning system on the Brodbeck uses a gas shock. And this is a 7-inch gas shock, something like that. The issue I have with gas shocks, there's a couple of things. First, they fail. And they are known, and they are supposed they fail. This is the fourth one I'm on, and I've had this grinder for a couple of years. So it's kind of a pain in the butt when these things fail. You definitely have to have an extra one on hand, or your grinder's dead. The other thing that I don't like about the gas shock is you'll notice, okay, I've got this tensioned. It's almost bottomed out on the gas shock. So for me to change the belt, I can barely get the belt off, okay? Now to put even the same belt on, I kind of have to play with this for a minute here, and then finally this, and then it goes back on. If I'm changing a belt to something thicker, like a 36 or something like that, it definitely will not go back on. So what I have to do is down, loosen, take this off, get the other belt, put it on like this, pull this, and it's a 10-second ordeal. Okay, now I'm going to take you over to the Revolution and show you that system, which I do think is superior. So I'm going to try to make that modification on my Brodbeck. First, let's go take a look. So this is my Revolution. The difference here is this one has a spring in the back, and this is an extension spring, not a compression spring. So as you pull the arm down, it's stretching the spring. So I've got this at full tension right now, and if I want to change the belt, if I want to put a new belt on, I just press harder on this. Whoops. Let's do that again because I screwed it up. Here, belt, and let go. I didn't have to change this arm. I didn't have to screw with the distance of this arm. It's just ready to go. And these springs have a 30-year life on them. Like they're definitely going to outlast the grinder. It'll probably never fail. So I really like this system, and it's very strong. In fact, the tension on this one is a little better even than the gas shock on the Brodbeck. So what I want to do is add a little extension arm and add a spring to the Brodbeck so I can remove the gas shock. So let's talk a bit about springs first. So the important factors of springs like this are really the overall length. This one overall is 4 inches, and this is the one off the Revolution. It's 4 inches, and you want to know what the poundage, or how many pounds the max load is. This one is 60, because I called Brian and asked him. And then you want to know what the deflection amount is at max load. And I just kind of measured this, and the deflection amount it's just over an inch, maybe. I mean, you can really push it, and it'll go to almost 2 inches. But I think the range here for what I need is about an inch deflection. So those are the important characteristics of the spring. So now let's go to our Brodbeck and see how we're going to do this.
Hey folks, are you enjoying the channel but looking for a way to support it? Well, here's how. Join my Patreon. Here's all the perks that you're going to get. There's a link down in the description. I'd love for you to support the channel.
So here's what I've done just to do some measurements. I've got a ruler here, which is, I just measured out 4 inches and clamped it about where the spring would be. And I've just taken just a random piece of metal here, just clamped it with a spring clamp, and I measured the extension on this spring on the Brodbeck when it's at full tension, it's about an inch. So now I've placed this so that here it's off, okay, so it'll be loose, and then when I go down to full, that's about an inch, which is where the gas shock would be maxed out. And of course, I can always go a little further, like this, to change the belt. And then it'll just come back up. So I think I've got where I need it to be. I'm gonna just mark this out and we're gonna give it a shot. So now the first thing I'm gonna do is just drill a hole here where I think the end of the spring is gonna go. So I've just got a 3/16 drill bit. We're just gonna drill through the frame. The best part about this modification is if it doesn't work, I can just replace the gas shock. So I put this little bar here. I got the spring in place. Unfortunately, just where I put the hole, the spring is going to bend a bit, but I don't think that's a problem. So I'm just going to mark out where this bar is going to go, and I'm just going to tack weld it on there. So I've got the part here. I actually put it on the other side because it's more in line with the spring, and there's a spacer here that's 3/8 of an inch, and this is only 3/16. So it should be fine there, and it'll be more in line with the spring this way. All right, I'm gonna tack it up now. Okay, I've reattached the arm, I've connected the spring. It looks like exactly what I want. Let's hook up a belt and see how she runs. Oh, look at that. Now, swapping belts is easy peasy. All right, the true test. Let's see how she grinds. I see no change in the tracking. It's running really great. So I'm gonna call this a success. I love the spring. I love to be able to change belts. Here I'm gonna put on a thinner belt. This is a 120. Bam! Very cool. Now I can get rid of this. I call this modification a big success. It was super easy to do, took me under an hour, and it works great. There's a link down in the description for the springs. You can get them at Home Depot, 2 for $5, and they last 50 years. So you can give one to a friend. Thanks for joining me today, folks. Big thank you to Brian House over at housemade.us for helping me out for the links and just the details. Thanks, guys. We'll see you on the next one.